Good morning, members of Parliament, support staff, radio listeners, TV viewers, those viewing on social media, and members of the media. Welcome to the Central Committee meeting number 37 of today, Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. I would like to give a special welcome to the representatives of the Sint Maarten Carnival Development Foundation. We have established a quorum of 5 members of 5 factions. Please let's stand for a moment of silence. I've received notice of absence from the following members: MP William Marlin, MP Angelique Rameau, MP Hyacinth Richardson, MP George Pantaflet, MP Sichart Bijlani, MP Rolando Bryson, and MP Akeem Arundel, and also a notice of lateness from MP Rayon Peterson. MP Bryson and MP Bijlani are on travel on behalf of Parliament. Are there any members that'd like to have the floor for notifications? MP Wescott, you have the floor.
Madam Chair Lady, good morning to you. Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning to our Secretary General. Good morning to all tuned in to this meeting via the different means. Good morning to my colleagues in Parliament. Good morning to the representatives of the Sint Maarten Carnival Development Foundation, and welcome to this meeting of Parliament. Madam Chair Lady, I need to use this opportunity to make a public plea to the government of Sint Maarten to come out and explain the retraction of the cut in the 12.5% reduction for the institutions such as the school boards that fall under the law that also mandated a cut of 12.5%. Madam Chair Lady, as I am sure you too have read and taken note of, the government announced an agreement with the representatives of the civil servants regarding the payout of vacation allowance, which happened not too very long ago. This is based on the government as employer, and we still need to see how exactly it was done, but civil servants and public school teachers falling under that particular law, an arrangement was made, from what I have read and try to understand, that the vacation allowance was paid out, and in exchange, the vacation days were reduced. That's the picture that I got from media reports. However, that law does not apply to the subsidized school boards, the MAC, the Seventh-day Adventist, the Catholic School Board. All of them, Madam Chair Lady, fall under law, which I call law number 2. Now, these entities also had to cut 12.5%. It needed to be publicized how that was done. I haven't seen the publications. So the persons working for the subsidized school boards have also had to give up some type of 12.5% cut. And the question now, and that's why I am calling on the government to explain. And why am I doing it here, Madam Chair Lady? Because the government has adopted a modus operandi vis-a-vis Parliament to answer the questions that they feel they should answer and come to Parliament when they feel they should agree to come to Parliament. So, Madam Chair Lady, my call to government is, now that you, government, have acted as employer, and at least until we get this 12.5% cut regulated, at least you have paid out vacation allowance to the civil servants and public school teachers? What about the personnel, and in particular, the teachers of the subsidized school boards on St. Martin? Haven't they had to cut as well? According to the law, they needed to. What was cut? Did vacation allowance was it also withheld from some of these school teachers at the subsidized school boards? And if so, what is government recommendation to also assist the school teachers that are employees of the subsidized school boards? And Madam Chair Lady, it doesn't matter how the government address it. They could address it with the school boards, they could address it publicly, they could address it right now in their press briefing, but it needs to be explained. By going to Aruba and giving a story about the cut of 12.5%, only has made, for me at least, the entire matter of the COHO, of the cut of 12.5%, even less clear than it was before. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Wescott-Williams. Is there any member of parliament that would like to have the floor for notifications? I see no need. Thank you for that. Then we go over to the agenda point, and we have as the agenda points for today, agenda point 1, pressing issues with the future of the Carnival with long-reaching consequences. This can be found under IS 866, Parliamentary Year 2021 to 2022, dated May 9th, 2022. And the second agenda point we have today is introduction and amendment of several articles in the Rules of Order for the Parliament of Sint Maarten. We go over to agenda point 1. On May 9th, 2022, Parliament received a letter from the St. Maarten Carnival Development Foundation, as stated before, IS 866, with a request for an urgent public meeting of Parliament to discuss the pressing issues with the future of the Carnival with long-reaching consequences. The meeting was originally called and scheduled to be held in a public meeting of Parliament. However, I deemed it necessary to first hear from the SCDF in a closed-door Central Committee meeting. The public meeting will be held for any decision-making that will need to take place in regarding to the topic, if any. Today, the Carnival Development Foundation is present in an open Central Committee meeting where they will be given the opportunity to present on the requested agenda point topic. Hence, today, the meeting. At this time, I would like to give the floor to the President of the Sint Maarten Carnival Development Foundation, Mr. Alston Lawrence, for his introductory remarks and presentation. Mr. Lawrence, you have the floor.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I would like to say again, thank you for the audience. The SCDF thanks Parliament again for the audience. We did request open a public meeting. We accepted, because we need to be heard, we accepted the closed door meeting, and we accept this meeting as well to speak to the other members of Parliament. The reason that we are accepting meetings that we really did not ask for is because of the urgency of the matter right now. So we will meet with anybody who wants to meet in an official capacity so that we can get this issue really where it needs to be. So thank you for that. First of all, I would like to just again introduce the board members that could make it today. On my left, I have a longtime board member, Mr. Eduardo Rajuki. On my right, I have treasurer and longtime board member as well, Mr. Michael Granger. And to the end, Mr. Roland Rummy, longtime board member as well. So, and myself, Alston Lawrence. To begin our presentation, I would like to give the floor to my treasurer, Mr. Michael Granger, to make some opening remarks. With your permission.
Yes, Mr. Granger, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, and good morning to you, good morning to the Griffier, good morning to the members of Parliament present, and to everyone listening to us, watching us today. This is probably the umpteenth time we've been in front of this body. This is the body we've always had the most communication with over the years. We are very proud to say that we have never once been summoned to Parliament to give answers to anything, but we have always requested meetings to update Parliament, and through Parliament, the people of Sint Maarten, about what is going on with Carnival over the years. We did our utmost over the last couple of months or weeks and days not to make this issue a really contentious one in the public eye between politicians, so to speak, and between the political atmosphere, sphere, so to speak. We wanted this to be non-confrontational. We wanted this to be clear to the public, and we wanted to get everyone's understanding, no matter what side of the fence they stood on. What occurred, and I have to make mention of what occurred the last time with the requesting of the public meeting and move to a closed door meeting was exactly the kind of scene we were trying to avoid. We simply wanted to inform all members of Parliament. Some of the members of Parliament who received that presentation is not here today. The presentation that the President will make is basically the exact same presentation. We're going to take our time and go through it because we want the members of Parliament to understand the situation, and the public, of course, to understand the situation, because there's a large swath of the public that is waiting to hear from us about this particular issue, especially when it comes to our creditors, our sponsors, or people we have to pay prizes to, etc. They need to understand why we are in this position based on a parliamentary decision. I have to add here, though, that since that closed door meeting, the foundation has indirectly learned or understood that the central problem that we're about to discuss today, which is the placing of Carnival on public tender, is supposedly not happening again, or not happening in the immediate future, I should say. We have also understood from the initiator of that amendment, which we'll also go into today, who met with the President up till yesterday, mentioned along the same lines that not in the immediate future. We are still looking forward to having some kind of a dialogue with government. Again, that is part of the central issue here this morning. Again, no dialogue with the SCDF on any level about any decision. So we are still looking forward to some kind of dialogue with government moving forward. We are still looking forward to continue to update Parliament, and through Parliament, the people of Sint Maarten moving forward. But there is a lot that still has to be explained, which we will do today. We asked Parliament, that presentation might be a little long, but we asked Parliament for their patience, the MPs, because we have to get all of this out to you and to the public. We wanted to be here. We accepted this meeting. We wanted this meeting because we have to get this information out, and we need some kind of direction moving forward for to secure the financial feasibility of Carnival and to protect a lot of our obligations and commitments moving forward. So with that, Madam Chair, just wanted to make those opening statements. The presentation will speak for itself, and we look forward to any questions the Member of Parliament would have after the presentation. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
With that said, I will just get right into the presentation. This presentation will outline our current situation and also things that we have seen we've tried to bring to the government's attention quite some time before now. Getting right into it, I would like to start off just some basic information about the SCDF that perhaps some people may not know. First of all, the SCDF is a private and a non-profit foundation. We are not in no way connected to the government or part of government in no way, form, or fashion. We are a private, non-profit foundation. The SCDF has been here for 31 years of service. Every year of those 31 years, we had Carnival. We never had a time that we did not have Carnival, only when the last two Carnivals were canceled by the government. And also to mention, though we've had 51 years of Carnival, the 31 years that we have been there, we were put there after Carnival went through a long period of different organizations organizing Carnival. And usually at the last minute. There was a time that it was a task force came in after it got really bad. Before that as well, there was a committee of service clubs on the island, that's the right word, and just committee members that would be pulled together, Kiwanis, whoever it was at the time. So this organization was put together to have a professional organization that can pay attention and only focus on the development and organization of Carnival. We have always, every one of those years, we have always, except for the 2 years that we did not have Carnival, we have always received subsidy and have always complied with government's interpretation of the subsidy ordinance. Always, and to comply with the subsidy ordinance, there are several things you have to do, several financial things and documentation you need to put in. And we've done that every time that we have received subsidy. Just want to make that clear. Also, to make very clear, SCDF has multi-year agreements, sponsorship agreements, and we have a private loan, not a bank loan, a private loan. Okay? Moving forward. The board of the SCDF, I'll get through this in quick time. Alston Lawrence, that's myself. I work for the Parliament of Sint Maarten, radio host and other things. I am president now, and I've been 14 years with the SCDF. Paula Gordon is the vice president. She works at GB, and she has 9 years with the SCDF. Francia Peterson, Najiko, 14 years with the SCDF. Michael Granger to my right, a journalist, entrepreneur, and other things, 21 years with the SCDF. Eduardo Rajugi to my left, operational manager at Shagio and V. He's a board member, and 23 years with the SCDF. Mary Gittins, civil servant, 9 years with the SCDF. Vida Borad, a secretary at a law firm, 19 years with the SCDF. Angela Coley, 9 years with the SCDF, works at SZV, and Mr. Roland Rami, a pensioner, formerly at GB, 17 years with the SCDF, and that attributes to 135 years of experience in this level of an event every year, with the pressure of having to do it every year. I must mention, however, all of these years of our service are not board years, are not in control years, are not on the board. All of us have started off as regular volunteers, and that is how people get to the board of the SCDF. You do some years volunteering. So of all of these years, we have all served on all levels of the organization. This one is hard to read, but really quickly about the SCDF, these are some of the activities that we do every year. So we have preparations right after Carnival. We get into negotiations with sponsors and the people that help make it happen. We start registration, which we should have started at the beginning of June. We were waiting on this process to be over with to start again, but we will have to start very, very soon with registration. And when we say registration, not just season passes, but also all of the competitions. So Road March, Band Clash, the bands register, pageantry register, troops register, Calypsonians register, and season passes register. We're looking at over 1,000 registrations over the entire Carnival. And these we do this early in June. We start in June into the summer for the following Carnival. There's a reason why I'm saying that. When we come into stakeholder meetings, our stakeholders, our main stakeholders are, of course, the booth holders, the vendors, the troop leaders, bands, artists, pageants, promoters, and government departments. From about November until Carnival in April, we meet with all of these stakeholders at least 2 to 3 times. So that's kind of how busy we get for the whole year. SCDF works every year with government departments across the following ministries: VRAMI, TEAT, Justice, ECYS, which is Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports, VSR, which is Health, and Finance. We work with all of these government departments. More important than that, the SCDF really takes a lot of pride in the opportunities that we give to persons and entities in St. Maarten. Just to name a few, Calypso. Calypso is something that we have been handling, but we have outsourced Calypso more than once to several local organizations if they would like to take it on and do it from a different perspective. We have done that with Calypso. We have done that with pageantry as well. In the latest time that we did that was Posh Productions. Posh Productions, we outsourced pageantry to Posh Productions for 5 years. That is over now. Youth Extravaganza has been outsourced to several organizations in St. Maarten. I can name at least 3 of them. The point here is that there seems to be this energy that SCDF wants to do everything and they don't want to share with nobody else. That's not the case. We are open to working with the public and the local organizations at all times. Another example of us taking very strong stances for the culture was the local only Juve. Since 2015, we made a policy where Juve, our biggest event, we made sure that the local bands were first when it comes to that. And that is something that has helped the music develop to where it is today. We've also worked on developing new cultural activities and events. All of these are put together by the SCDF themselves and include a whole new range of stakeholders and people to participate in Carnival. Firstly being the Cultural and Heritage Night. Cultural and Heritage Night brings together the different heritage groups on the island living in St. Maarten. So the Guyanese, the Jamaicans, the St. Martins, the Indians, the Chinese, all of them have participated in our cultural night. This year would have been our 6th year of doing the cultural night. Pan Explosion to really help develop the art of Pan on the island. Pan Explosion happened this 2022. And we planned it for 2020, so we're happy about that. That can eventually develop into a panorama or a pan competition, but right now it is a showcase, and it was well taken by the public. The Village Cook-Up and the Village Cock-Up. The Village Cook-Up and the Village Cock-Up are a food and drink competition amongst the boot holders, those who are in the village, and this is going into its 6th year as well. The Cultural and Heritage Parade, which is also a parade. We did not have it in 2022, but we've had it a few years in a row, where the same cultural groups from the Culture Night would again join the back of one of our parades and have a Cultural and Heritage Parade. Very, very popular across the different people on the island. And last but not least, Band Clash. Band Clash is an extra event for the bands, and it's part of their Band of the Year competition, which has a total of 7 different events that each band must participate in, okay, including Jump Ups and Juve. New shows. Again, this is about providing opportunities. We have provided opportunities to new shows in Carnival, and these are some of the biggest ones that we have until recently. The Soca Rumble, which has not continued, but the Soca Rumble was one of those that we gave a great opportunity to because we saw what it was going to do for local music. And so that is one. Caribbean Flag Fest, very popular show that is in its 6th or 7th year. Night of the Hitmakers, 6th or 7th year. Ninth year, Night of the Hitmakers. And Bacchanal Sunday, also 5th or 6th year. These are mainstay shows that we have worked with these promoters on. We have allowed them to really be creative and create niche shows for Carnival. Yeah. Lately, we have fostered a professional relationship as well with the new Calypso Association called SCA St. Maarten Kaiso Association. Years ago, we may have been at butting heads with the Calypsonians, with some of them then. They have now formed a Calypso Association, and we right away spring in to work along and start over with them, resulting in a very, very, very good Calypso show this year, which we all can be proud of. We have also contracted young local entrepreneurs for vital services in the Carnival Village, such as quality sweepers. We have another company that cleans the bathrooms. Sound 2000 does the sound. All of these are local companies that really took the advantage and opportunity in Carnival provided by the SCDF to grow their company and become major companies as well. Also, opportunities for sponsorship. We have in the past been always open to all types of sponsors, and when that became a little difficult because of other exclusivity things happening around us, other decisions happening around us. We made sure to find a way to involve as much as we can, and today we are very happy with what we can do in that regard. We are now here at Carnival 2022. I want to just quickly go down the list of our post Carnival 50 plans, which were the plans we planned to initiate and start in Carnival 2020, which never happened. We begged, we begged, and we really, really promoted having an increased involvement with the Ministry of Théâtre and the Culture Ministry as well. That was one thing we really put out there. We wanted to identify the symbiotic benefits between tourism and heritage and culture. We had major plans to streamline all operations and really see where we can do better in a lot of the things that we were doing. Carnival 50, before Carnival 2022, Carnival 50 was the last carnival we did. It was it was like Easter Sunday in church. It was the biggest level that we could have handled, and needless to say, we did not think we would not have two carnivals after, but I think if we knew that, I think we would have rested better after Carnival 50. But Carnival 50 was definitely a jubilee year, and so moving forward, we said a lot of times publicly that we were going to totally restructure. We had a situation, even up to Carnival 50, of sponsors and people not wanting to contribute enough. We were going to straighten that out for Carnival 2020. We were going to address all the rollover debt with new agreements every year, and this will come up later as well. Every year we carry over a certain amount of rollover debt. We were going to find a way to put an end to that. Of course, we're going to introduce innovation in most aspects to increase efficiency. This is publicized as well. If you look in the press, you can see us. We were going to launch a brand new website, online and digital payments, registration online, everything else. This is where we were going into Carnival 2020. Of course, we were going to put a great focus and possibly even invite focus groups for us to make sure that we have a good mix, and we're very aware about the mix of tradition and culinary when it comes to our Carnival product as well. So we wanted to bring back a lot of the parts of Carnival that we no longer see for whatever reason. One example would be King and Queen of the Band, which are the really, really huge costumes, and other little parts of Carnival. I think we wanted to get into the development of mass camps and how that goes, and to change things around and take some of the tradition and bring it back into what we're doing now. When it comes to culinary, we were really going to make sure to focus in our marketing as well about Carnival that it is a food festival, and a grand food festival at that. We were planning to also examine the pricing for the public and versus the rising cost of Carnival. If you know, when it comes to Carnival, the SCDF has always made sure that it is accessible. The price for the tickets for our shows and our events is always affordable for the major public. We are not the type that can have a $100 ticket, an $80 ticket. Not that we're against it, but these shows cost a lot of money, and for too long, our shows have been $10 and $15 only, which results in the end of us having shortfalls sometimes for some of these shows on an individual level. Reviving the junior aspects of Carnival was a major, major thing that we were focusing on to get the interscholastic level of Carnival competition back in play. Junior Calypso is no longer with us. Junior Road March. Thankfully, the junior pageant was able to be held this year. But we have had an issue with the participation of juniors in Carnival, and that is something that we are still focused on getting done. Of course, we wanted to expand our working committees. Unlike a lot of other foundations, our foundation, the board members, actually execute a lot of the work. if not all of the work. The outside of Carnival, all of the work is executed by the board members alone. We don't have any other committees, but this is something that we realize we would need to have in the future to really streamline Carnival. One of these things we were planning to do in 2020 as well was to host a multi-day retreat for our stakeholders, for our key stakeholders, not just the sponsors, not just the booth holders, and not just about what we are going to do, what we need to execute, but about Carnival, the future of Carnival, and how far it's going to go and how they see themselves in that place as well. Okay, now I want to get into challenges, and this is very, very important, important turn in this road. Carnival 2022, we had to have Carnival. We already were held up. Let me mention before Carnival 2020 was canceled, I think 10 days before our first event, which means that all agreements were already in place, monies were paid, monies were received. So that stop was a very strong pause, which of course we knew would have led to challenges going into Carnival 2022. But these are what some of the challenges were. First of all, coming out of a 2-year hiatus and the uncertainty about Carnival, the uncertainty about COVID, and what that means to the party goer, the Carnival reveler, or even the stakeholder who, for instance, in some cases you have stakeholders who have older people working in the booth, so they straight up said, no, with COVID in the air, I can't have my booth, and they have given up their booths, and other small situations like that. We definitely had a financial shortfall, besides the recovering economy, which is still a major issue we are dealing with across the board on the island. The COVID-19 uncertainty and the COVID-19 protocols as well led to a very strong financial shortfall for us. While other promoters had one event later on in the season of Carnival, we started off Carnival the first, maybe for 2 weeks, maybe the first 2 weeks, were mostly SCDF shows. SCDF having a bigger responsibility to the public, we could not, the board then decided not to deviate from the protocols, the COVID-19 protocols in place. We also had long weekends to deal with. And so because of that, we took quite some hits in the participation of the public coming out, simply because they have to get tested, or it was, I don't know if it was unclear. We were very clear with how to come, but people just were a bit more reluctant to come to the festival because of some of the COVID-19 protocols, which was not the same case a couple weeks later when the bigger shows and the international shows came into play. By then, the government had already allowed promoters to use their own discretion when it comes to their COVID-19 protocols. Challenges. Our major challenge has always been funding and financing. In this case, sorry. What happened? Oh. In this case, we're talking about government funding. This chart is a chart that we published maybe 6 years ago, really just comparing what government funding is in St. Maarten to the rest of the Carnival Caribbean, let me call it like that. We've also had, there are other parts on this chart that are not here right now, that are just too high to put on a chart and we can still read it. But here are some carnivals our size or even smaller, and what they get, how government subsidizes them, or how government assists with the funding when it comes to them. All the way to the left is St. Kitts, our neighbor, same size as St. Maarten, $1.6 million every year. Grenada, $333,000. Dominica, $410,000. Same as St. Lucia, $410,000. St. Thomas, $540,000. All of these numbers are not like us, are not, are not only earmarked for marketing. This is for their everything, operations, marketing, booking artists. And that is why you see And that's why the public may not know, but that's why you see big names in any of these carnivals. You see huge names, and we always get the flack, oh, y'all could never bring this one, or never could bring this one. And even when we do bring one on that level, we get the flack again, no, y'all could find money to bring this one. So we cannot bring the artists that these neighbors can bring as long as we are subsidized this small. And we are actually not subsidized for no part of the operations at all. So not for cleaning, sound, none of these things we can use our subsidy money for. So we have to raise that money every year. Let me continue. St. Thomas, $540,000. Antigua's carnival was looking at our carnival 4 years ago when we went to Uber. We met them there. They were just starting to really market their carnival. Now they are being subsidized up to $930,000. And if you go back and look at what they're doing, you'll see where that money goes. Barbados, the big island, $600,000. And Sint Maarten coming in dead last again for the last 6 years in a row at $190,000, only earmarked for marketing. So we cannot spend this money on our operations. I think it's 9. No, right. So that's about funding and government subsidy, okay? Lowest in the region, and we have the longest festival as well. Next, the cost of Carnival. These are some challenges that we deal with, and I don't think we have always shied away from putting this information out. We've shared it with the council. We've shared it here in Parliament, I think once before, but we have always been very cautious because of these companies, but we're gonna explain it. These are some of Carnival's biggest costs every year. Sound and light is about $115,000. Festival Village is $55,000. We have to rent the Festival Village every year in whatever state we get it. I can get back to that. Garbage and cleaning, a total of about $85,000. That's the garbage, that's the cleaning, as we know. We are heralded every year for how clean the village is with as much people that are in there. To have people in there eating for 12, 13 hours straight, you don't see flies, you don't see rats, you don't see none of that, because of the great work being done by local companies in cleaning and garbage. Security every year costs us about $55,000. Prizes are around $80,000. And last but not least, entertainment fees. This includes everything you need to have Carnival, including decorations, including sometimes artists, the local artists are in here, per diems are in here. Everything you need to do basically are entertainment fees, and they're upwards of $200,000. Okay? And previously, as we looked at government subsidy of $190,000, just realized none of that can be spent on any of this. Okay? Moving on. I mentioned about the Festival Village and the situation we battle, I can say, with SOG every year about the state of the village. We've come to Parliament and mentioned it before. We have gone to the council and mentioned it several times. Nothing has been done. So no repairs have been done to the Festival Village since Hurricane Irma. The building, this year, we walked into the building, us here, walked in for a walk around, and on first glance, it looked like, wow, something is nice in here, because they repainted the building. They repainted the entire building, but did not fix, on the outside of the building, sorry, but nothing in terms of maintenance was done. So SCDF every year, when we get this building, our contract says that we are renting the facility as is, and as is, I'm gonna show you a video what as is sometimes look like. SCDF is also expected to repair and get the facility ready. We usually get the building, we got it on the 4th of April this year, to open Carnival on the 14th. So we had 10 days to deal with whatever situation we found when we got there. Alvin, could you play the video? This video is before Carnival. So this is how we received the facility. This video shows some damage that we started to see, maybe 3 or 4 days after already receiving the keys. So we receive the keys, the boot holder start to move in, and only when it starts to move in, you start to see certain things, which this video will show. I hope. Yeah. What we're looking at there is roach infestation. Those roaches are coming out of the holes in the wall. So as they drill into the wall, the roaches coming out. The roaches were coming out of the electricity sockets. And I wish I could say this was just one boot. This was several boots. If you look here, there's water coming down the wall because it's raining. So this boot was full of water, and that's after repair. This is water just, Alvin, could you stop for a second, please? This is what we found in the morning. So every morning, one of us, we go to the village very early, maybe like 6 o'clock in the morning, and we saw this leak going on. This is one of at least 4 major leaks around the facility that just spring up and just happen like that. It's a lot of water. You can't really see it in the picture. Forward, yeah. And when these things happen, we have to rectify it right away and get someone to come and fix it. And there's a lot of bureaucracy about that. Right here, can you stop too, please? Okay, on the left, this is boot 59. This is a double boot that was rented as a commercial boot. So you see, if you look to the left, you will see the beam is kind of hanging out of the boot. So when that happened, we immediately told SOG, we would like to fix this. How can we get this fixed right away? We went on Friday, okay, Thursday, Friday. We went possibly 4 or 5 days waiting simply for us to pay the person to get it done. SOG was very strong with their process in that we cannot bring someone to fix it. They need to bring their person to fix it. Okay, so bring your person to fix it. Sure, we're willing to pay. Here we can. Here's cash. We can pay this person to fix it. No, they don't want the cash. They want the money put on their account. The 14th of April, as we know, the 13th was Good Friday. The banks were closed from the day before that, I believe. And so no bank would have been open possibly till the Tuesday. So the first picture on your left is how we found it when we got the keys. The second picture is after the sound system was turned on. That picture on your right, that entire beam slipped out, as you can see right there, and was about to fall. SOG knew about this. SOG did nothing. It hung like that for at least 2 days with them not allowing us to let somebody fix it. Ultimately, we had to call the Prime Minister, who had to get involved to allow them for us to just pay the person to fix it as we asked to do 4 days before that. Play on the video, please. So these are some structural issues we had to deal with. And this is how we repaired them. As you can see, those those steel beams holding up SOG's beams. We have a total of 4 or 5 of them in the village right now on that side of the village. And some are not from this year. So we, in 2018, 2019, we had to still repair. And here we come back to 2022, 2 years of hiatus, insurance money, blah, 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 all of that done. And we still had to repair beams for public safety. Lack of maintenance. These are holes in the ground, holes in the stage. Can the video go back just, maybe 10 seconds or 20 seconds? Halfway in, yeah. So we repaired that. Next, these are holes in the stage. So we bring international artists here. Our promoters bring international artists here, and the floor, the stage floor is full of holes. These are little things that could have been repaired. Not to mention the pigeon infestation. That's a whole other mess that we don't want to talk about. On the right, that is the ticket booth that can be pushed in as easy as just touching it. They knew we were coming for Carnival. I don't know why not even these small maintenance things were done. Okay, a little bit more forward. Oh, there's another part. Okay, but we don't have it here. We'll continue with the flooding. Yeah. Okay, getting back into the presentation. Okay, so we spoke about the village and how that's part of the challenges, but the absolute biggest challenges that we, the SCDF, after 31 years, deal with are the external decisions by government. The external decisions made without consulting us, without even giving us a heads up, have always been the most detrimental things to us executing Carnival. Firstly, here are some examples. Government increased our subsidy in 2014. Years ago, government increased just one time our subsidy up to 500,000 guilders, and then cut the subsidy the following year, a month before Carnival start. So while we were expecting to get the same amount of subsidy, the 500,000 guilders, following year we plan, we budget for that 500,000 guilders, and then when the money comes through, we realize it's a bit short, and then we realize, oh, the minister made a decision at the time to just cut it back to 350,000 guilders. That's 150,000 guilder fall. The same year, government went and signed an exclusivity agreement with Telem and SOG. Now, it sounds possibly, what's the issue here? The issue here is that Telem was not our only telecommunications sponsor at that time. We had a multi-year agreement with UTS at the time, and by government making this external decision without consulting with us, the SCDF lost $75,000 in sponsorship, which I must mention was more than what Telem was given at the time. And it complicated quite a lot of stuff with other promoters that leaned on UTS for sponsorship for their shows as well. Those both things happened in the same year. So you can imagine expecting this and being, that's $150,000 that we planned for that we could not get, and that's just 1 year. After that, even recently as 2019, here is another decision made by government where if we were consulted, it could have gone another way that wouldn't have been detrimental to the SCDF. The consequences of all of these things only fall with us. So the subsidy cut, that was only our problem. The Telem exclusivity in SOG, that's only our problem really. And now government's 50 pass giveaway. So government announces it's going to give away 50 passes. SCDF read it in the online too. We actually read it online immediately. That was, I'll tell you, that was before Carnival 2019. Immediately we get on the phone with the minister. Yo, what's up, minister? What is going on? Because as soon as he announced this, you can imagine everybody who were planning to get a season pass for Carnival 50 just stopped. Some even wanted their registration pulled away. Some are not paying. But basically, all registrations stopped at that moment. Had we been consulted, I think if the minister wanted to, he could have still done it, but after our registration was closed, after people had paid and different things like that. So that was quite a headache. And in good standing, to make matters worse, and to stay good with the government, we attended this giveaway as well. So these are the kind of external things that really damage us really bad. Now, another one, and we're not arguing about the decision, but just about how it was done again, government's cancellation of Carnival 2021. 10 days after giving the green light. Now I think that part of the news, the cancellation news, went further than we're having Carnival. And this went all across the Caribbean because consequences of this was 10 days before that, we put out our health and safety regulations and guidelines that was adopted all around the Caribbean. Everybody took it and like, wow, we need to see that. The government green lighted it. It looked great for us here in St. Martin. And in 10 days, while we were actually in meetings with stakeholders up until 10:30 that night, I don't live far from the office. By the time I got home, there was on SMN News that government had cancelled Carnival. I can never express what that feeling is in regular words, but basically, again, another situation where we could have been consulted. As a matter of fact, that day we were in consultation with members of the Council of Ministers. They could have, WhatsApp was, something could have said, oh, I think we need to go this way. Lastly, the most dangerous external decision to date, Parliament quietly passing a budget amendment law in 2021, putting Carnival on bid for 2023 and the consequences thereof. These consequences are what we are dealing with right now. The same way how the 50 pass giveaway stopped everyone from registering, this decision and the times that it has been mentioned by the council in public, this word bid, Carnival was going to be on bid. I don't think the council knows what that has done to us and our operations. We have sponsors that have money to contribute to Carnival for Carnival 2022, heard that word bid and said, no, I don't know where it's going. And we have been, all of us here and other board members, we have a total of 9 board members, we have been dealing directly with the consequences of that, which includes not only people showing up to our houses, not only people demanding their money, not only people threatening to go the legal route, but we have not been consulted on this at all. And yeah, I'm gonna pass, Madam Chair Lady, I will pass the mic over to my colleague, who will go into the next slide.
Which one of your colleagues?
Mr. Granger.
Mr. Granger. Mr. Granger, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. As the President said, this is the most serious. We've dealt with a lot of uninformed or decisions by the government when it came to Carnival, us not being informed ever. So we've always found a workaround. But this was actually a decision by Parliament. And we thought this is the place, or we actually was instructed by the Minister of Teat to come back here and fight our fight, because this is where the decision was taken. I just want to explain to Parliament and to the public about how long we've been trying to get information about what exactly went down, because it was a funny scenario in July 2021 when we was looking at the budget debate and we heard this amendment quickly pass through with barely any elucidation to it. And I immediately texted Mr. Lawrence, who works in Parliament here, as to what just happened in Parliament. What was that, really? We didn't understand what it was. We had certain stakeholders start calling us, asking us. And that's how I heard about it, because I wasn't really paying attention. Stakeholders asking us, what exactly happened there? What does that mean? What is happening? So we proceeded to try and get information from Parliament, and government over the next year as to exactly what that budget amendment, which read like the marketing for Carnival was going on bid. Other people interpreted like Carnival itself was going on bid. It was totally confusing to us. We didn't know what it meant. And people started to call. So the whole line of trying to obtain information started from July 8th with us. We sent an email to MP Bryson, who was the initiator of the amendment. We sent emails to government, to Minteat on July 21st, Minteat on July 28th, Minteat on August 7th. These are all 2021. I have to pause here and mention Minteat at that time was current MP De Weaver, who did indicate that she didn't fully grasp or understand what, and I don't want to speak for the MP, she probably explained it herself, what it was about. It was attempted to get information as well. The minister's tenure came to an end. The following minister came in, Minister Lawrence. We sent communication again on January 11th, on February 18th, 2022, January 11th, 2022, February 18th, 2022. We finally received a letter on April 7th, 2022 from Mintiat, which basically repeated the same language as the amendment itself. And I'm sure the members of Parliament have the amendment. It clarified nothing for the Carnival Foundation, nothing. We still didn't know what it meant. In response to that, we were right on Carnival because April 7th, a week later, Carnival would start. So we were really occupied to focus on organizing Carnival. So we sent another clarification letter on May 7th to Minister Lawrence asking, please explain what we can expect. What does this mean? Again, but we have not gotten a response to that letter. The only time we received basically clarity, well, I could say informal clarity, I should say, is from in a discussion with myself and the Prime Minister, who on April 28th, yes, via WhatsApp indicated that we should temper our statements about Carnival because, as we know, terms of reference are being prepared to put Carnival on tender. On April 28th, I responded to the Prime Minister. I told the Prime Minister, actually, PM, no, we did not know. And your information is the first time anybody on any government level has basically so-called confirmed it to us. That was, like I said, informal. We have still never gotten anything formal from anybody from government on any level. We have never been consulted, never called, never explained, nothing. And the consequences of this, I don't think, well, I know the MPs and members of Parliament really do not grasp what that does to Carnival. Because, as explained, as mentioned by the President, Carnival, because of lack of funding over the years, operate in debt. And I don't think that anybody in Sint Maarten who doesn't know that we owe people, you know. What happens is that you have a budget with huge contractors and huge service providers that you can never fulfill in any given year because it's so much. So these contractors and service providers understand that every year they have Carnival, so they're going to let us pay a certain percentage of the so-called contract, and the rest rolls over. And next year we pay another percentage, and the rest roll over, and so forth and so on. And that is how we do Carnival. Year after year, even before this board was in, that is how Carnival was done because of lack of funding. When the rumors of a bid or tender kept building, and the Council of Ministers kept mentioning it in successive press briefings, you could understand in the middle of Carnival the reaction that created from creditors and sponsors, etc. Because if you are not there, if the foundation that they have long-term agreements with, if the foundation that they have a standing loan with is not there or is not recognized as the official body to be doing Carnival moving forward, all purse strings closed immediately. Everybody started knocking on our doors, not only the Festival Village door, but at home, wanting their money. That is what that created. You can't from one day to the next, without consultation with a foundation up and decide, we are no longer, you're going to go on, the festival itself is going to go on tender, and you zoek maar uit. Okay, that is not the way we think it should go, not the way it is proper or fair to the Carnival Foundation, its stakeholders, its sponsors, its service providers. Everybody now is waiting to hear what's going to happen. We can't give them an answer because this is where we are today. Again, in the middle of Carnival, as these things started to build, people like right now, every year after Carnival, we depend on corporate to assist us in paying prizes and doing prize giving ceremonies, etc., that kind of thing. Everybody's refusing to give us a red cent because they don't know that we're going to be there next year, year after next, etc. because of long-standing agreements. So these type of things, and we are saying all it took was a conversation with the Carnival Foundation. We are not people, we have served the foundation. We have served the foundation for a long time. We have served Carnival for a long time, but we don't expect to be here forever. We don't expect to be in charge forever. We've brought up youth wing committee members who have been on the board. We've brought up a lot of people over who will carry on after us. But to not have a conversation with us about a festival we've been doing for 31 years and putting us in a financial predicament that is going to be hard to overcome, that just caught a lot of people off guard, and I don't want to speak for any MP, but as like in a closed door meeting, some MPs told us plainly, like I know the Krifi is looking at me, maybe I shouldn't repeat, but I'm going to say it, they just didn't know either. They were confused as well. And it's a pity some of them aren't here to repeat those words in public, okay, but that's what was said. Because we knew that the way that amendment was worded is like, what? How do you put an entire festival, an entire cultural festival on bid? And why? And will other festivals will also be put on bid? Those are the questions we have. Those are the questions that answers has never been provided to. But now the Carnival Foundation is sitting in a position created not on our own doing, that we now have to go forward and deal with, and different pictures is being painted around the situation we are in. But the problem, the focus remains that we are not consulted, and this decision has caused waves and ripples out of our control. Okay, it's being painted now that there are stakeholders that haven't been paid and prices haven't been paid. Yeah, we've been saying that for donkey years. We've been saying that in the media, we've been saying it in Parliament, we've been saying it to COM, we've been saying it forever. But in 2022 and 21, when amendment was passed, that was not the premise used for passing an amendment. It was the Carnival Foundation is going to get, the Carnival Foundation, Carnival is going to get more money. That's it. Nothing else. So that is the situation we are in. It's a very serious situation. I said in the beginning of this meeting that we understand now indirectly that such a tender, again, won't be happening in the immediate future. We have not been informed officially, but we understand it indirectly. But still, it is a problem that remains for us, and we're going to need some serious clarity on this issue moving forward. I could not have said it any more plainly, Madam Chair Lady. And I thank you for the time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Mr. Lawrence?
Yes, and I reiterate everything Mr. Granger has said, and I would just like to we have just a few more slides just to really finalize this point. Why us, why now? That's really our question. Why us and why now? Again, I mentioned in the beginning, we have never failed to do our carnival, not once. It's not like government has decided this because SCDF is not doing a good job. What does that mean? We have never failed. Also, in this quest to find out information, we did meet with MP Bryson twice, not the whole board, but on two separate occasions, myself and Mr. Granger have met, and we got versions. This was a year ago, maybe, in the past. We got different versions of what that amendment meant. One of them involved us, SCDF, heralding us that SCDF, you guys are really good at facilitating Carnival. And so that's why the SCDF should be given the village. And then we subsequently, thinking everything's sweet, came into Parliament, gave our 2022 presentation, asking for the village again, which of course then angered the Council of Ministers apparently, because then statements were made in public that the village is not up for grabs and SCDF can't just take it. And all of this energy, I just want to point out again, started because of something told to us by a member of Parliament. We have no reason to irritate the Council of Ministers. The marketing group would be able to attract bigger artists. This is straight up said that, okay, if another group comes in, they may have the skill to attract bigger artists. I know they have the money. That's what it says. You have the money to attract bigger artists. So that, of course, got us thinking, okay, so why are we talking about another group? We're a group, we can actually be part of this, but it sounded already at that moment like we won't be part. We won't be winning the bid or the tender. The SCDF being given an operation cost to be the landlord of the village. This was expressed in a way that, of course, made no sense to us as well. Anyway, just saying that to really get out there what happened. Now, is this policy of putting festivals on bid to be implemented to all festivals? Is the SXM festival need to think about this in the future? The regatta, no, the regatta doesn't have to, because this year the regatta was given an MOU this year by Minister Lawrence, or the Minister of Teyat. And that is something very, very, what's the word? That's something very ticklish. Why? Because we have been asking government since I think at least 2015, even presented a draft MOU to government. We've presented it to every minister that we met with after that. Again, here it is, brand new. And this Council of Ministers has it as well. We have been asking for a MOU 7 years before Heineken Regatta got theirs. And up to now, here we go, still always asking, trying to change the relationship we have with government, because we don't like it. We obviously do not like this kind of subsidy arrangement we have here. You give us this chunk of money only for marketing and nothing else we can do with it. You know, so we have been asking to change in many ways. But no, Heineken gets it. Happy that they got it. I hope we can get something like that too as well. What about the Uwelichi Festival? What about Best Weekend Ever? Do we need to call a skeleton, tell him, hey, watch out, they might put it on bid? What is the meaning behind all of this? And why just us? 31 years, stellar record, always did it. And everyone that can say that we have owed them, ask them if they've ever been owed before, if they've been paid. We've paid everybody. So if you may not finish, get it this year, you're gonna get it. And they all know that, and that's why we've never had this blown up. But this is blown up this year because we're not sure, or they're not sure, that we are going to be there next year. I hope everyone understands this. This is not about money for us. It's more about a decision being made that we can't answer for, that only affects us, that mainly affects us. Here are some of the proposals to government that we have made, that we have initiated towards government to change the way that the subsidy has been working or not working for us. We proposed to government quite some ways back to not disperse subsidy to the SCDF, period. Keep the subsidy and disperse it to the Tourism Bureau to pay the bills. We can agree on what needs to be paid and who the vendors are, and let them pay the bills. And this was something advised by Ministry of Finance. The current Minister of Finance was the former financial controller of the Ministry of Teyat. So the current Minister of Finance is someone who sat with the SCDF for months before Carnival and helped us put together all of our reporting and our requests and our budget. So it's been quite funny to come years later, and now that he's been made minister, he's so critical about the way that we were putting in our financials before that he helped us put in. So that all of these things make us super uncomfortable and very, I want to say untrustworthy. Like we're not trusted. We are always antsy when we have to deal with government because of things like this. Again, we proposed that MOU since 2015. It has been through different heads of the STB. It's been all over the place, and nobody moves on it. And last but not least, we proposed to manage the festival village, not just this year in Parliament when we said it, but years ago. I don't even want to call which Prime Minister's name, because we've met with every council, and we have proposed to manage the festival village, which we would have taken on maintenance, and we would have exploited the place, of course. And last but not least, we considered paying a concession to government. Instead of government giving us subsidy, we could handle it. We have this asset, we will be able to handle this asset, whether it was for 10 years or whatever, but we were going to pay to government a concession. And that is a proposal put in by SCDF. You can find this, you can find all of these actually in the div system over there. We propose to, you want to do this? Yeah. I'm gonna pass this.
Mr. Granger, yes.
Chair, later we are always at the end of the presentation. We always thought the subsidy could be used better when it comes to the fact that they subsidize us just for marketing. We find that idea of subsidizing just for marketing is outdated and not working properly. It is not a model that is sustainable. We've said this for years, going back to 2014 when we had our last general marketing study. There are various cost-efficient and free avenues for marketing that's currently available. We have journalists that contact us yearly that just want to come for free. They just want to come to cover Carnival. They just want to come to FET, and their content go up on there. They're influencers, so they just want to come for free and gain access to our events. We've also had preliminary discussions with the Port of Sint Maarten already about including Carnival stakeholders in the foundation at all trade conferences, because instead of they traveling all the time and talking about, we have festivals on the island, why not bring along festival stakeholders or whoever to talk about these festivals, to be adds to the overall appeal. Inclusion of our national airline at no cost, where they has always offered to carry, so to speak, be it our calendar or magazines or whatever for us throughout the Caribbean at no cost. They're willing to do that. Attending regional carnivals and festivals, all of us have done that. Mr. Ojuki, also everybody's traveled to different islands. This is all marketing. SCB, including Carnival, in the strategic discussions with our tourism reps in every market. We know we have tourism reps in the US, Europe, South America. Whenever we see videos promoting Sint Maarten, we rarely ever see anything about our cultural aspects of the country. Very rare in never Carnival. We thought that should be included, and it's another way to promote Carnival and the destination. The other proposals included subsidy is needed for the operational aspects of Carnival, not just marketing. To spend, because now the proposal on the table with amendment is 600,000 guilders for marketing only. 600,000 guilders on marketing to us it could be spent better, and some could go to the operations, which we've been asking for years. We have also proposed that some of this increased subsidy go to our stakeholders, our creatives. Okay, I want to be clear, when we say stakeholders, we mean our real stakeholders, Calypsonians, Queens, etc. Because on Sint Maarten, everybody go to the same sponsors. It's one pot. And the sponsors themselves are strained to support everybody. Okay, it's always a struggle for a troop leader, a reveler, a Calypsonian, a Queen participant to get sponsors, because people are just divvying up the pie, so to speak. And so we have always proposed that the subsidy, a part of it, should be reserved to help our creatives, to help our cultural people in Carnival. That, to us, is a better spend of the subsidy, along with helping the foundation operationally. Involving the culture department is a must. The culture department do not subsidize Carnival in any way whatsoever. This year, I have to give a little compliment to the Minister of Culture, Minister Samuel, who, as best as he could, tried to contribute to the cultural aspects of Carnival in terms of... he made sure that the Artists for the Culture Night, or a part of the Culture Night, was paid from the Culture Department. So at the very last minute, he kind of struggled to get as much as possible done to make sure that the Culture Department did something actually for Carnival. So we have to compliment the minister on that. We also think that Sint Maarten should be placing more emphasis on developing cultural products and activities, while simultaneously showcasing more of our heritage and the cultural aspects in its tourism promotion efforts. We've said that already. We would love to sit down more with our tourism promotions, tourist office, the harbor, the airport, in terms of incorporating Carnival, culture, heritage in their promotion of the destination. That is something we have always wanted to do, and another proposal we've submitted. Dialogue between the SCDF and government. We do not understand why it is so hard, why it is so hard to reach out to us, why it is so hard to talk to us. We have always responded to everything government has suggested, to everything Parliament has suggested. Many of our recommendations and the way we operate come from Parliament suggestions, but consultation just has not been there. And decisions keep being made around us. We did, the conversations carry on around us, but never with us or to us. So we hope that improves, and all of this can again be governed and ironed out in an MOU or SLA, whatever 3 letters you want to use. It can be in an agreement. I remember MP Wescott-Williams asking our last time here, do we have an agreement with government? And that is the agreement that we want to iron out with government. And we think it's a good way to move, since we are saying the current model is not sustainable. Let us put an agreement together where you have deliverables, where expectations are outlined, so then we know we are on the same page if government feels we're not on the same page. So we have several proposals on the table for the government, which is why it's another surprise that this whole thing about the tender came up, because we was like, well, wait a minute, we have all these things out here pending. We've given suggestions. We've done everything you've asked us to do. We've undergone an audit. We have met with Parliament several times. We have met with COM several times. What is it that we have not done? Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Mr. Granger, thank you. Mr. Lawrence?
In conclusion, the board of the SCDF is asking Parliament, where this decision started, to put a halt to this bid for Carnival, allowing us to execute our restructuring plans and our present long-standing agreements that we have with sponsors. Of course, we would like to finalize the MOU with government for the future. Again, as my colleague, Mr. Granger, said, we want to have a dialogue with government. Making a decision for the future without us even being consulted it's not the way, it's not fair. It's not fair to anything going on in St. Maarten. You just don't pick a particular part of society or activity and just say, oh, no, not you. Let's see who wants to do it next year. We don't plan, and we never thought that we would be here forever, but this is not a fair way to go about this. Madam Chair Lady, thank you so much for the time, and the members of Parliament, thank you for the time for hearing our presentation. If you have any questions, we are willing to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Granger, for your presentation. I would like to turn the floor immediately to members of Parliament if they have any questions. I see on the speakers list the first member of Parliament that wish to have the floor is MP Wescott-Williams. You have the floor.
Yeah.
Good morning again, Madam Chair Lady, and thank you for the opportunity. I thank Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Granger for their presentation on behalf of the Sint Maarten Carnival Development Foundation. Madam Chair Lady, from the perspective of Parliament, at least perspective of this Member of Parliament, in 2021, got the budget from the government of St. Maarten very late because of different reasons. And in that budget, the government, like it had done years before, had a subsidy for the Carnival Foundation. Subsidy. There's a difference in the posts where these things are booked. So it was a subsidy to the Carnival Foundation, 350,000 guilders. I'm going to pause here before I continue with my summary of the budgets and ask, like I have done in the past, I understand the part with the MOU, but I asked the foundation, are there written agreements, rules regarding you using the subsidy? You know, are you at liberty to use it in the way that you wish, or is it tied to a specific area of your promotion? So are there any such rules, written or otherwise, regulations, agreements that you have, is my question. Madam Chair Lady, I now continue. So in 2021, we received the budget from the government, and the government had 350,000 guilders budgeted for subsidy for the Carnival Foundation. The by means of an amendment passed by a majority in Parliament, not supported by this member of Parliament, a change was proposed for Carnival marketing to now go under the tourist office, and that there would be money on the previous post of Carnival, the 350,000, but it would go to Small Island Soca Cruise. In that same budget, because the budget was late, the time for Heineken Regatta had passed, the amount allotted to Heineken Regatta was scrapped by the amendment from 350,000 to 0. I also want to make note of this fact, Madam Chair Lady, of the next fact, and that is, in this same amendment, it was proposed that the post that had to do with co-ops and such, that it was specifically mentioned that 150,000 guilders would go to our national airline, Winair. And I say this because I'm going to be asking what became of that decision, okay? But some of these matters I am going to leave for the handling of the 2022 amended budget, because a lot of things are going to have to come to the fore in that budget amendment. And the government could run, but it can't hide from bringing that amended budget 2022 back to Parliament. So they could run and go on and accuse members of Parliament of politicking when these kind of questions are asked. But it can't run forever. The budget going to have to come back to Parliament. Madam Chair Lady, just for the record, this money was, all of this budget amendment was actually taken from the post for income support, 4.5 million guilders, and then distributed, take it from Carnival, put it here, there, and elsewhere. So that's what happened in 2021 budget. 2022 budget, the one that was passed, again, the government of Sint Maarten puts under subsidy for Carnival 350,000 guilders. 350,000 guilders. The government, if this government doesn't get its act straight and stop running from taking a position because to keep other members of Parliament or whosoever happy, Madam Chair Lady, these are the kind of things we're going to be confronted time after time again. So we get a 2022 budget. Subsidy for Carnival, the Carnival Foundation, subsidy post, 350,000 guilders. The Small Island Soca Cruise, 2022, 0. So apparently that decision in 2021, as put in the amendment, was not something that I guess the government supported because they put it back in the budget 2022. Then here we come now again. An amendment. Amendment comes to Parliament. Now, Carnival subsidy that was proposed by the government of Sint Maarten, 350,000 guilders, is taken away again in that amendment and added to festivals. And listen what it says, huh? So the amendment states that that is done, so it's taken away from the Carnival as a subsidy and added to festivals because, and now the amendment is written in Dutch, huh? Carnaval op openbare aanbesteding moet gaan. So, it gone from the subsidy post now to marketing and then on the festival. Carnaval op openbare aanbesteding moet gaan. So Carnival needs to go on public bid. So what in that do we not understand? What in that do we as a parliament government not understand? What kind of half stories we giving the Sint Maarten Carnival Development Foundation? Okay, is it so? So then we come back. So now, so this is 2022, it was done that way. What now? So government, get this, government has the responsibility. Government has the responsibility. When it comes to an amendment, when it comes to a motion, to give their position. Madam Chair Lady, we can come in here with anything. I could come with an amendment of anything on the budget. That's my right, to come with an amendment to a budget presented by government. But government needs to give its opinion. We are not responsible for the execution here in Parliament. It is the government. So the government must know, since they accepted this amendment as it was, they didn't say, well, you know, maybe we're too far in 2022, don't do it yet. It is not that Carnival op openbare aanbesteding moet gaan, etc., etc. But say something. And now everybody is shunning from addressing what it is they want to do with Carnival, Madam Chair Lady. Now we were not sure. Doesn't really mean that. Maybe all you'll get some money. Maybe all you two can what you call it, bid for what? And indeed as asked, what is it we put in on bid? So is Carnival going to be organized, and we're going to get the most suitable, adequate group to market and promote, or can anybody now bid to organize Carnival? So that's what we're going to do. So now, and what gives, if it's the latter, what gives the government the ownership of a Carnival? What gives the government the ownership of Carnival? So it in the Carnival, it in the festival, it in the Carnival activities. No, it's the marketing. And you want to do that, but you ain't going to do it with the ones organizing the festival itself. So the local things that happen here, the things that happen here locally for Carnival, you're not going to do it. They're going to do their thing. Maybe this foundation or government might decide another foundation is to organize the Carnival, and then we're going to get now, how much was it? Because in the 2022 budget, they carry down the 600,000 according to me, whatever. But just to get a marketing going, but you're going to coordinate the two. You're going to coordinate the activity and the marketing of the activity is my question. And Madam Chair Lady, what we're seeing, and that's a pity. What I'm seeing happening more and more is that we are asking ministries to send their personnel to Parliament, the workers, the staff, the Parliament, to give so-called a technical explanation. But the things that we really want to know are policy/political questions and debates. Maybe the government has a very, very good story to tell with respect to Carnival op openbare aanbesteding moet gaan. Carnival to go on, and they say they just say Carnival. So I too am left in the dark. I can't answer the questions put on the screen. Carnival should go on bid. And when is this going to happen? We're going to wait until another few months and then rush something to say, no, everybody bid for Carnival, to market it, to organize it. What is really going on, Madam Chair Lady? I have on numerous occasions told this government that they must have some type of a plan, some type of an idea, and whether you agree with them or not. So a two-liner is going to put our Carnival, whatever is understood on the Carnival, marketing, organization, whatever have you, on bid, a two-liner, and then they are lifted when questions are asked. They are lifted, and I sure in my case I'll hear, oh yeah, but how long you weren't there in Carnival was organized the way it was organized? That's you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I could only advise, because I don't have a majority in here, I could only advise to really at least halt this. I don't know where it's going. I honestly don't know where we're going with this. Why must there, I mean, we know there's always some little bacchanal with Carnival. There must be. I mean, there must be, otherwise what's our Carnival if you don't have some little bacchanal? But it shouldn't be that government is the one promoting the bacchanal. No, I mean, like, honestly speaking, you always look for a little thing here. You're like, okay, that's a little bacchanal we're going to have this year, next year. And, but Madam Chair Lady, I know, I honestly, I don't know. And I say all of this because when it comes and you get these, you late, by the way, you get these amendments to budgets and to proposals. And then when you say, but wait a minute, can't we at least talk about them? Can't we have a discussion about them? Then we hear, no, you're not agreeing. And because we have the majority, we're going with it. Madam Chair Lady, I just hope we can really put a, just put a stop a minute. Let's see where we're going, what it is we really want to do. This don't have to be a next saga and drama that we don't know what we want to do with Carnival. And because we have the right and a majority in here, saying, okay, we're gonna put it on bid, but we ourselves can't explain what we do. We ourselves cannot explain what it is that we decided here, because I haven't gotten the explanation in Parliament when it was proposed. So, Madam Chair Lady, yeah, I know. So that's the only question, So based on what have you been now operating, and given this change in the budget 22, I assume the Carnival Foundation got its subsidy, Madam Chair Lady, through you, I'm kind of asking as well, for 2022. So can we then say, well, okay, the urgency is no longer there now, we have some time to kind of revisit this whole matter, is my question. Because this 2022 budget, and I guess 2023, God's willing, is going to see another story again. So so what are the conditions under which you operate right now, if any, vis-a-vis your subsidy? And I'm assuming you got your 2022 subsidy, and was there anything specifically said to you at that time? Because the question would be, Madam Chair Lady, that too would need a budget amendment, because it was taken away from Carnival subsidy. So if the Carnival Carnival Foundation got its subsidy in 2022, that post was scrapped. So it needs to be in the budget amendment that we need to be getting. We have to get that would need to be addressed. And so yeah, unless I don't know. I need to find out from the foundation how they got their subsidy. Was it any different than the years gone by? Madam Chair Lady, I want to thank you, and I think I've made my position clear. I think we should just kind of, as they would say in Papimentu, wanta this, and just let's go over no, it's not really frustrating, but that we have to, as Parliament, revisit some of the things that we have done in this fashion. It's lamentable, but I just look forward to those few questions that I have. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Wescott. Would you like to respond one time, or should we have two more members of Parliament I'd like to have the floor, MP De Wever and MP Emmanuel. Should we proceed with the questions? Okay. MP De Wever, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. I do want to ask one question, though. There was something that was asked that was very important by MP Wescott-Williams about how the foundation received their subsidy. So I'd like to ask if we can get that question answered before I proceed, please. Thank you.
Mr. Granger, then.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. To answer MP Wescott and then MP Miller De Wever, the MP Wescott asked if there's any written rules in regard to how we get our subsidy. we follow the subsidy ordinance to the T. We submit our budget, we submit our financials, we submit our marketing plans. What else? We submit everything that's in the subsidy ordinance. And that, once it's abided by the subsidy ordinance, we get a subsidy. We have been told since 2012, I think, that the subsidy should only be used for marketing. And we have to account for that by showing how it was spent on marketing. That is why we have to include the marketing breakdown. Sometimes after we will ask for invoices, which we provide. Whenever they ask for, we provide them to government to prove that the $195,000 was spent on this for marketing. That is how that is distributed. It's been the same for every year, including 2022, which we did receive the subsidy for 2022. So every year we have abided by the subsidy ordinance, and every year we get our subsidy the same way. Whether the Secretary General informed us that COM approved the subsidy and then follow up with finance to get it, which we have a very good relationship with finance department. Compliments to those civil servants who always rushes it through for us. But it's always the same, nothing any different this year, exactly the same way. The only challenges we've had over the years depends on whichever Minister of Finance is there. They have a different interpretation of the subsidy ordinance itself, whether or not you can submit compiled financials, or you have to submit audited financials, or you have to submit half-year financials, whole-year financials. Over the years, we've submitted all. So whatever asked, we've submitted. And was there anything said to us at the time when getting the subsidy for this year, MP Wescott? No, nothing was said to us whatsoever. We just was told the same way. COM approved the subsidy, follow up with finance. That was it. We followed up. We got a subsidy. Well, I think 70% of it? 70%. The remaining 30% is the following year, once you give in your financials and stuff again. That's it, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Have you responded to all MP Wescott's questions? MP Wescott? Yes? Okay. MP De Weaver, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for the answer, because I heard exactly what I wanted to hear. Because I know that I was referenced there because we had a closed door meeting last week, and I want to be extremely specific on my language that I used, and I'm going to read to you. So MP Wescott-Williams, let me answer you the question. The reason they got their subsidy is because I put it back. Through you, Madam Chair Lady. Let me answer MP Wescott's question through you. The reason they got their subsidy is because I put it back in the budget when I was Minister of TAT. So I want that to be very clear, because especially, and I told you all last week, through you, Madam Chair Lady, that when it came to a budget, if people don't understand how a budget should be handled, you can't come with last-minute decisions to go put something on a tour, to go put something on a bid, because you threaten the existence of the whole activity, the festival occurring. And that's why when I was Minister of TAT, I said publicly in a press briefing, I have a budget amendment from Parliament. I have to do what Parliament say. By the end of the month, we have to make a decision on what we do with this. And that's when the Carnival Foundation proceeded to contact me. I had already known at that moment that I was not going to listen to a budget amendment, because I have that financial knowledge that I would not do it, because I was not going to be solely responsible for Carnival not happening. So I'm going to read to you the email that I sent on July 21st, 2021. It says, so that you have a record, here is my recommendation in order to meet today's budget 2022 deadline to Finance Ministry. 1, put back the subsidy for Carnival in 2022. Leave the balance of the $600K under a new line item for marketing. Tersenhakias, I have general. Number 3, consider adding line item for cruise marketing, which would include items such as small island soca cruise. The reason I want to say that is because that budget debate is public. It's in an OVE, and people should know that I put that back in. I wasn't the one trying to threaten the existence of Carnival, because I have the financial knowledge to say, no, this is not realistic. You don't tell someone 6 months before an event to put it on bid. With that being said, in the next budget debate that we had, again, The public saw that I was absent. I was absent because they sneakily put in again a budget in the budget amendment to do the same thing again. And I was not going to be party to that. Okay? I wasn't party to then when I was minister. I am not going to be party to it then because it's irresponsible financial decisions. And I am not responsible for irresponsible financial decisions. Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP De Weaver. Next on the speakers list, we have MP Christophe Emmanuel. You have the floor.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning to our honorable members of the Carnival Committee. Good morning to you guys, my honorable colleagues. Good morning to everyone in the wonderful people of Sint Maarten. Good morning. Madam Chair, I don't want to be ferocious. I don't want to make light of the issue, but I don't even understand why the Carnival Committee is here. Madam Chair Lady, with all the issues in this country, all that is happening, all that is going on, 12.5%, we don't know where that is, what is happening with it. Madam Chair Lady, the increase with fuel prices, $23 for a 20-pound cylinder cooking. People sleeping on the boardwalk. We don't know nothing about the hospital. 90 million for refinancing with the airport. Can't get nothing we don't know, but we are discussing the Carnival Committee. Carnival. We are here in a meeting discussing Carnival. And no disrespect to the board members and Carnival in itself, like I said, to make light of the issue. But out of everything that is so important, we are here discussing putting Carnival on bid. And a question came up, why the regatta and why these other festivals aren't on bid? The answer simply is that they don't look like us. That's the answer. Let's just get that part out of the way. That's the reason why. But Madam Chair, I can't get it understand. I can't fathom it whatsoever. That we are here to discuss Carnival going on bid, and my colleague made mention a while ago, a couple of months before the Carnival, it must go on bid. It must go on bid. And then I heard members of the Carnival Committee said they had a discussion with one member of Parliament. You had a discussion with one member of Parliament, one. When you had a majority in Parliament, what pass it? You had a majority in Parliament, what pass it? And none of them ain't here today. They're here. And then when the meeting went in closed door because they want to hear from stakeholders, where are they? Have you heard from them? The meeting is open today. But you had a discussion with one member of Parliament. With the government. Where's the government? Madam Chair Lady. But we are here discussing putting Carnival on bid. Madam Chair, so this year Carnival wasn't a successful Carnival? And besides the 2 years that we was absent, the one before that wasn't a successful Carnival, and the one before that wasn't a successful Carnival, and the one before that wasn't a successful Carnival. But then let me ask this question, Madam Chair Lady. That one member of Parliament, I would like to ask this to the members of the Carnival Committee. Wasn't that one member of Carnival or one member of Parliament that they say they had a discussion with at some point in time involved in marketing Carnival? Was it going on bid then? Madam Chair, I refuse to entertain nonsense. And that's what this is. And I'm sorry that I have to call a meeting in Parliament in such a name, in such a manner. MP Wescott-Williams said, but when you ask questions, they are miffed. But it's true. It is true. Carnival? Carnival? We are discussing Carnival. Madam Chair Lady, a 5-hour closed door meeting, it was the last time. 5 hours. But we can't get a discussion. We can't get a discussion on what is happening with GEBE, with the nepotism, and who ain't got a Eisenbidow contract with this one and close to this. We can't get a discussion. We can't get it. The fuel clause increase, we can't get a discussion. Gas price increase, we can't get a discussion. You carry it up by 44 cents and you bring it down by 15 cents and you're saying you did something. We can't get those discussions in Parliament. We can't get them. Cutting up the hills, digging them out all over, we can't get those discussions. We can't get those discussions. Because the ministers, they don't come. They don't come to those type of meetings. Okay? Fawcett was given a gratuity. Now is vacation pay, and amendments supposed to be made, and then they got to come to part. We can't get those discussions. But the discussion we can get is Carnival going on bid. And when Emmanuel said that this is the worst government ever, I'm the worst person. Because when it comes to us doing our thing, no. We got to find a way to make sure that don't happen. Well, me knowing myself, Madam Chair Lady sitting across here and looking at Rajuki, he's the face of Carnival. Michael Granger, I mean, I don't see nobody else. I can't believe that all that is happening in this country today, our focus and our priority, because my colleague Wescott-Williams said she asked the government to come with a priority list. Well, it seems as if top of that priority list is Carnival, going on bid. I can't believe this. People are suffering in this country. And the only thing they have to distress themselves is, according to my colleague, a little bacchanal. But we are here in Parliament discussing Carnival going on bid. That's what we're here discussing. Madam Chair, I have never really been one that I have never been to Carnival in terms of the village to a show. I've never been to Carnival. Not because I don't like Carnival, it's because all the smoke and everything inside a Carnival, it makes me sick. So I have to stay away from Carnival. But I have a few questions. Madam Chair, through you to the SCDF, I would like to know, has the SCDF ever not complied with anything that the government or this Parliament wanted to do concerning Carnival? What will happen if you leave here today and you don't have a concrete answer, because I keep listening to what you're saying, in the near future? So what is it really? Is it that it's still on bid, the proposal is still there, it has been shelved, it's not going to happen? Which one is it? So if you're leaving here today and you don't have a comfort letter or comfortable in terms of, you know what, we are not doing this anymore, then my question is, how does that make you feel, Madam Chair Lady? Second to that, have you ever been explained why this is being done? Why? Have you ever got a concrete answer why this is being done? And this question was asked over, and we got the answers, but I'm going to ask it still. Are you allowed to spend any of the subsidy you are getting now on your operations? Does the government pay for any of your operations? And you being a private foundation, like any other foundation, getting a subsidy from government, do you have to request this subsidy every year? Has the SCDF ever been invited to a meeting to discuss its proposals for the festival village? I mean, I have to ask, because I see a number of damage booths in the festival village. And Madam Chair Lady, in their presentation, they made mention that they have asked to take over the festival village. I would like to ask the SCDF in terms, what solutions do you have in terms of repairing those damaged booths? And when you speak to SOG, what are they saying? Because they received the insurance money. And they received half of it, quarter of it, they received all of it. So I would like to ask through you, Madam Chair Lady, what is SOG telling you in terms of the repairs concerning the festival village? Madam Chair Lady. Madam Chair, I don't want to go on further discussing Carnival when there are so many important things. But I wrote an article saying, this is what you get biting the fruit from the poisonous tree. Madam Chair Lady, this is what you get. Anything that's in favor or bright for St. Maarten is to destroy it. And I remember Carnival coming in here once upon a time, and I remember they came in here already, and I said, if it's not broken, why fix it? Leave them alone and leave them do what they are accustomed to doing. And Madam Chair Lady, if government could put more effort into our culture, then Carnival can be much more better than what it is, and we wouldn't be having this discussion here today. I thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Emmanuel. Next, we have MP Gums.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. A lot of fireworks today in Parliament. Madam Chair, it's curious that this is where we are now. As you know, I did not support the 2022 budget, mainly because I've come to a point where when this government tries to rush something through, I'm one, very suspicious, and two, I remember that, haste makes waste. So nevertheless, here we are. This was an amendment that was already not very clear to me. Clear in the sense of what MP Wescott mentioned about the bidding part. So I'm surprised to hear some MPs say that they had no clue, but not clear as to the why of the matter. Why now indeed to put Carnival, of all things, up on bid. But even though I had no intentions of voting for it or the budget, I did ask the Minister of Theatre during that meeting about it. I expressed my discomfort with Carnival, our one big cultural festival being put up for bid, even ironically as we are now in a discussion about decolonization and protecting our culture and our heritage. And I asked who would be eligible to bid for Carnival, and if we could expect non-local companies to put in their best offer for this festival. The initiator of the amendment at the time was sitting behind me and muttered about it being only local companies bidding, blah, blah, blah. But anyone who has a guilder's worth of common sense knows that in this country, you can have a locally registered company that acts as a front for non-local actors conducting business on St. Maarten, whether it's a construction company, a beach bar, you name it, they front it. So I was not comforted by the it will be local companies only reassurance. Then in this presentation, Mr. Lawrence explained that SCDF received an explanation that this marketing group would be able to attract bigger artists. The one marketing group I could think of on this island that could attract bigger artists is in Calaboom, but they already have, of course, a day in Carnival. So I don't know if that was the initiator saying indirectly that they would be getting the festival, which I wouldn't have a problem with. So, Madam Chair, my first question through you to SCDF is, who is the marketing group? Where are they from? What's their cultural relevance to St. Maarten, if that's something that was shared with SCDF? Madam Chair, MPs Wescott-Williams, De Weaver, and Emmanuel have expressed their concerns with this amendment, and I won't lie, I have had some issues with aspects, certain decisions made by SCDF, and I've told them that directly. I passionately disagree, for example, with restaurants being given booths in the village. They have brick and mortar establishments, and what I was explained about the spirit of being a booth holder is that you give persons in the community who maybe have a little business a chance to generate some income and showcase their talents, specifically because they don't have an actual restaurant. But I've communicated this, of course, to Mr. Granger and Mr. Lawrence, because if I have issues with the way things are done, I prefer to communicate directly with the horse's mouths in question. So if a restructuring of SCDF or the way Carnival is done in St. Maarten is a conversation that needs to happen, then that needs to happen with all stakeholders involved. And if government is adamant about it being put up for bid, there are ways to protect against Carnival being hijacked by non-local actors then. You restrict it to foundations that have cultural relevance, a cultural goal, so to speak, in the community, of which SCDF is one already. And that is something similar to my experience with planning festivals in the Netherlands. Amsterdam Pride is something that is put up for bid every 10 years, five years now. But there are strict policies and strict criterion that you have to meet. You can't be, anybody to come and bid to put on that festival. And that's not even a cultural festival. So again, as we are seeking to protect our heritage and our culture, I think that this is something that government needs to look at. And it's ironic that this amendment passes in a budget meeting where MP Duncan's motion also passes about establishing a cultural and heritage week with the Minister of ECYS sitting right in front of us. But anyway, Madam Chair, as I said, MP Emmanuel and MP Wescott-Williams are not wrong. There are many things currently happening in this country that make at least some of us in this room uneasy. I think the ones that are sitting here then. I'll add one to MP Emmanuel's GB point on his list, not just the current situation at GB, through you, Madam Chair, to MP Emmanuel, but the implication by some media reports that we were lied to on the floor of Parliament in that question hour about GB, and the risk that that poses to the country's only electricity provider. The only one we have. If you don't like Telem, you could go to UTS with Flow. But if you don't like GB, and if GB is not providing you the service that they're supposed to, what's your option? Campfires, I guess. Anyway. So a shady amendment over something as small but not any less significant as Carnival is par for the course for this government. We had our concerns about why this budget was being rushed through. I think we even had the most volatile reaction this faction has ever given to it. And anyone who's been following us knows that we do our best as a faction to not bash this government. In fact, to not bash anyone, especially during times of crisis. But the fact remains, many of those sitting in minister seats today would never have tolerated the things that are going on right now. None of them. In fact, if they were still MPs, I would have probably sent this government home already. And they would have done it without the minister being here, because they're good for that. But yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Gums. Last on the speakers list, we have MP Peterson. MP Peterson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A good afternoon to my colleagues, to the SCDF, to everybody else tuned in. Madam Chair, it's kind of surprising for me to be the calmest one speaking, especially in a discussion like this. But I think that everything that had to be said has already been said. I think that the way that this amendment came about shows how this government has been working and how much attention they pay to detail. Because this amendment passed. That means a majority of this body sitting in front of the SCDF right now chose to pass this amendment to put Carnival on bid. But ironically, like MP Manuel said, through you, Madam Chair, those who voted for are not here. But I think that accountability goes a long way. It doesn't only count for ministers, but it also counts for us. Because some of us in here tend to play the politics when it comes to the budget. We vote for, we vote against, we don't give any reasons as to why we're voting, and after the fact, we think that we are not going to be questioned as to why we voted, but we are voting our conscience. So to that extent, all the MPs who voted for this amendment voted to their conscience by constitution, and therefore are of the opinion that the Carnival should be on bid. And I think that that's something to be reiterated, because we like to forget these things. But coming back to my first point as to how I feel that this government is doing things, this amendment is a very good example. In the first week of 2022, we reiterated our question to the government asking for the national ordinance containing general measures, the LBHUM, for the tender in principle, for all tenders, for all ministries. Because this is in the Compatibiliteitsverordening, Article 47, Section 6. The law states that without this large national ordinance containing general measures in which all of the rules for all tenders are to be put on paper so that people could see what they're getting into, that has not been done. So theoretically, all tenders up to now are illegal. That is a fact. That is what the government has been doing and has been condoning. We asked this like 6 months ago. So where is the priority for this government where no answer has been given to the PFP's questions in regards to the LB hum, but we are passing amendments to continue with our, let's say, our very known way of just tendering everything, you know. And these questions that MP Gums just spoke about, one was about which company was going to be allowed to bid. These are the things that have to be put in the law. But if you go and pass an amendment first and then go into the details, then like MP Gums said, it has to be a front. It has to be a front. And I, for one, I'm going to go on record and say that I, MP Peterson, member of the PFP faction, and to that extent the PFP faction too, we are not in favor of putting the Carnival, one of our last cultural heritages, our only actually, to put that on bid. Regardless of if it's going to a local company or whatever, I think that something has to remain by the people. And I think that a foundation, a non-profit foundation, would be the best way to go forward with that. And I think that'll be all from me, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Peterson. I think we have come to the end to the members of Parliament asking questions. Mr. Granger and Mr. Lawrence, would you need some time to respond, or?
No, Madam Chair, Lady, you can respond right away.
Mr. Lawrence, then you have the floor.
I think we answered MP Wescott's question already. Thank you. MP DeWeaver has elucidated from that answer, and MP Manuel. So I will answer some of the questions, and I believe Mr. Granger will answer the other ones. His first question that I picked up was the last Carnival successful? Was the one before that successful? All of them were successful. All of those carnivals were successful. All the stakeholders came to do what they came to do. The only thing is this carnival had a financial shortfall more than the ones before, because I mentioned before, COVID and all of that. However, that never stops and has never stopped the SCDF from doing another carnival because of the kind of agreements we have with all stakeholders. He asked if the one member of Parliament was involved in marketing Carnival years ago. Yes, that is true. And he asked if it was going on bid then. Nope, definitely bid was nowhere in the air. Has the SCDF not complied with anything government has asked us to do? We have never not complied. We have always complied with everything the government has asked us to do or told us to do. I gave an example earlier on. As detrimental as the 50 pass giveaway was, we literally drove the raffle car in front of it. We decorated the stage. We stood there with the minister, and we complied. He wanted us there, and we did that, despite all the trouble it caused for us. That's just one example. What is SOG telling us in terms of repairs? In terms of repairs in 2018, after the hurricane, SOG said no repairs will be made for 2018, but it's on the way. We had 2018 Carnival, one of the biggest carnivals we had in terms of people participating, obviously because of, as mentioned, people need that. 2019 was Carnival 50. It was our biggest carnival to date. SOG going into Carnival 50, we took almost the whole year catching up with SOG. What's going on? I don't see nothing happening. Are we going to be ready? Are we going to actually have our 50th year of our island's biggest cultural manifestation with 12 or 13 broken boots in your face? Is that going to happen? It happened. Coming into 2020, we were there as well, and we spoke. We walked around the village. The insurance money, yeah, we're gonna be ready, man. We're gonna be ready. And here we are, Carnival 22, and I can still show a video like that. And to be quite honest, that video still is missing a part. There is a much more terrible part to that video that didn't play today. So SOG has always been saying repairs have been coming or are coming. This was the first year, I think a week before, when we did our walkthrough, I said, just be straight with us. And they said, no, they don't see no repairs happening before this carnival here. That's how I answer the end of that question. Mike, if you could answer the rest.
Mr. Granger.
Chair Lady, continuing on MP Manuel's question, to add to that last part, SCDF for the last 3 years has a sponsor that was willing to repair those broken boots in the village for free. Okay, this was brought to the attention of SOG. It was also brought to the attention of COM, and at that time we were just told no. We say it's going to confuse the insurance process, etc., etc. So those 12 boots that are out of place since 2017, that cost us an average of $25,000 per year of lost revenue, could have already been repaired if our sponsor were just allowed to do a good gesture and repair the boots, so we could rent them out and get some funds. So it would have cost government and SOG nothing. We received a no. And up to date, sorry? And yes, also that included painting the roof of the boots, etc. To date, the village still is the way it is. And we're still not making any money on those 12 boots. MP Manuel asked what will happen and if leave here today without a concrete answer. And how do I explain this? This is, like we said earlier, we understand now that there have been some discussions within government and they don't see it being realistic to execute this bid anymore. That is what we understand. I want to make it clear we have not received that in any kind of official document. But that is what we understand is where the discussions are. This, as light as it may be, is still important for us because there's several things pending that has us in a financial bind. I said it earlier, everybody stopped paying. Corporate entities we depended on just say they need some kind of clarity, etc. The foundation, the 9 foundation members, and I cannot stress this enough, are liable for some long-term agreements that we have. And that is why I keep saying it was irresponsible. It was a pity that we were not consulted before these things just flew in the air. In fact, before Carnival 2022, we were saying, the Board of Foundation was saying, Lord Jesus, if these rumors, if government keep adding credibility to these rumors, we are in trouble for Carnival 2022. And for the last week or last 10 days or so for Carnival, that's exactly the position we found ourselves in. Because service providers started believing and started buying into the whole rumor thing. And for the last week of Carnival, the knocks was on the door, the demands was aggressive, and we had to, every single night of Carnival, whatever was made at that gate, we had to take it and run to pay somebody who refused to execute a service they normally execute because they know they would be there next year anyway. But this year, because it might be a bid and you guys might not be there, we don't want to hear it. Every night for the last 10 days of Carnival, that is how we operated under pressure, straight down to the end of Carnival. So we have to open registration of Carnival 2023. That is our obligation is to host Carnival for this country. That is what we intend to do. We hope to get some kind of dialogue or discussion with government. Still, we still hope on that. But we are moving forward after today with our preparations for Carnival because we have an obligation to stakeholders, sponsors, etc. And the board of the Carnival Foundation cannot afford personally to just sit back and let such a decision affect us personally as well. So we have to move forward with organizing Carnival. Have you ever been explained why? Never. We have never been explained why. We have never gotten a discussion with anybody at any point in time. The only discussion we got with the initiator, as Mr. Lawrence explained, came with a whole bunch of different explanations as to how the structure would look, which includes getting the Carnival village from the Prime Minister. It's a lot of things we took with a grain of salt. But other than that, no official discussions whatsoever with anybody on any government level. Are you allowed to spend any of the subsidy on our operations? Not one red cent is allowed to be spent on operations. Everything is for marketing and marketing only. Does government pay for any of our operations? Government does not pay for any of our operations in Carnival. Everything is funded by the Carnival Foundation and its corporate sponsors. Do you have to request subsidy every year? Yes, it's an incidental subsidy. We have to request it every year. We have to submit the same things as per the subsidy ordinance. Every year, the same exact documents. And the funny part is, since 10-10-10, because of the constant changes in government, we've had to explain every year why government had to subsidize Carnival. We had to give big explanation as to why government should be subsidizing Carnival. Has SCDF ever been invited to a meeting to discuss its proposals for the festival village? We have several proposals. We have put them on paper to several prime ministers over the years because the festival villages fall under the prime minister. And no, we have never gotten a discussion to discuss it. The only thing we've gotten is a response in the village saying the festival village isn't up for grabs, that was not our intention. We wanted to show that there's a better way to manage that facility, including, we had even included a Carnival museum, linkages with the port, so tours to come through there, everything. We had it laid out, we still have it laid out, but no, we have never gotten a discussion with government about our proposals for the festival village. We've just been brushed off.
That comment we got said in the press, that it wasn't said to us.
Yes, the comment about the festival village being up for grabs was said in the media, not to us directly. So, MP Emmanuel, I hope we answered your questions. Those was the questions we had from MP Emmanuel. The questions we had from MP Melissa Gums, who's the marketing group? We have no idea who this marketing group is. It was never referred to us. But in the business of Carnival people speak to each other all day, every day. Carnival sponsors, Carnival promoters, Queen Pageant, they speak to each other. So when one person from Parliament talk to a particular group, and it goes around to the circles. So we have a pretty good indications of who the marketing groups could be. Okay, but for us to say definitively that is that, we don't even know. The boots in the village wasn't a question, but it's something I need to address, especially for 2022. Why we saw some restaurants have boots in the village. For 2022, we had a lot of challenges with getting boot holders to take their boots. A lot declined to take their boots because they couldn't find vaccinated people. That was part of our protocols. Boot holders have to be vaccinated. And they still were a little uncomfortable being in the festival this year. So up to like a week before Carnival, we had boot holders deciding, sorry, SCDF, I'm not taking a boot. And that left us in a situation where you had 10, 12 open booths. Not everybody could come up with the fees at one time, find vaccinated people at the same time to fill out the Carnival village in its booths. The easiest people then would be restaurants whose members already have food handling certificates, who are vaccinated, etc. Now, they pay an increased fee than a regular person as well. Okay, so they pay a business fee to us, and then they get the boot. I should add, though, that we also still believe it's part of the boot holder contract that you are not entitled to that boot every year. When I say that, a boot holder has a boot, but they know next year the SCDF can decide, listen, we want a little bit more variety, we want to give people more opportunities, a wider swath of people. So you have the boot this year, but you're not entitled to it next year. Okay, and we got under severe blows for that when we actually implemented our policy that we want to get as many people participating in the booths as possible. So this year was a little out of whack, so to speak, in terms of how many was in there, but it was only because at last minute it was very hard to find individuals who could fill out those booths. So the business, some of the restaurants came up, but actually there were some restaurants that even couldn't do it either. The ones that was there could have filled it very last minute, and so that's what we have. But moving forward, it's back to our same old policy of awarding a boot to people, a different amount of people as possible. I think that was it for MP Gums' questions, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Mr. Lawrence?
I would just like to add to the PFP factions, questions, and elucidations as well about the marketing group. Again, we've heard all kind of rumors from who it is and who it's not, and they're talking about it, and those energies are probably rushing this process or trying to rush the process as fast as possible. I would like to point out that a marketing group, and we have outsourced our marketing to other groups before. Those other groups took that as a very strong challenge. It is a hard challenge to market Carnival. It's even a harder challenge. It's even a harder challenge to do Carnival and market it. So if, please, I mean, everybody might say, oh, I love this one show they did, and it was a great night. Try doing that 20 nights in a row. Try doing that 16, 17 nights in a row. It's not something to play with. And I thank everybody here who spoke today on understanding, like, you have something good going. Why mess with it? Again, in closing from us, we are, okay. Okay, well, we need a decision. We need a decision as soon as possible. We needed it. We needed it when we first asked for the OVE. We needed it at the end of this of the closed door. We need it now. We need a decision made ASAP. Going, I know Parliament goes to a break. If we have to wait till after that break, we don't have a choice. But that really, really complicates everything going on with us as soon as possible. So Parliament, this decision again was made here, and we are waiting on some decision to be made in regards to our future. Again, it's not, we can get into technical things about it, but just the word and how it has been said and how it has been dropped in council and ministers here and there. It's just dropped in one sentence. Yeah, don't forget Carnival going to go on bid. And then certain people are asking, is Carnival going on bid? Yes, Carnival going on bid. SCDF, up to this point right now, the council has not sent us anything officially, or even the minister answer us anything other than what we sent him. So he just put the same amendment and sent it back to us and said, guys, I didn't make this decision. So a decision is what we are doing. Thank you all for what you have contributed.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Granger, for your answers. Any member of Parliament wish to have the floor for clarification? I see MP Emmanuel.
Yes, Madam Chair, I would like a little clarification. I don't think we can simply bypass that question I was asked from the members of the PFP in terms of who is this marketing group. I heard, no. I mean, you can gesture as much as you want, Chair Lady, but it's a legitimate question. And when I listen to the SCDF and the members them there concerning the pillow talk that they have, seeing that it goes round and this one talks to that one and that one talks to that one, and they have an idea. I want to know, what is that idea? What are they hearing? We are here, no, we are here in a meeting. And we are asking questions, and I want answers. Because if Carnival is such an important thing, it's going to be on bid, I would like to know, what are you hearing? What is going wrong and going wrong and going wrong? As you made mention, Madam Chair Lady, through you, what are you hearing? So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be definitively, but I want to hear what you're hearing too as well, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MP Emmanuel. Mr. Granger.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. MP Emmanuel, we are hearing that it's a conglomerate group of club owners. We are hearing that it's a group of local event organizers. You're hearing that it's a hotel developer who's only interested in the international aspects of Carnival and perhaps leaving the local aspects up to somebody else. We're hearing all sorts of different stories, but a lot of it has to do with people who have businesses and developments established on Sint Maarten who want to come together and primarily focus on the international parts of Carnival and the marketing of it. That is what we are hearing up to today.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Mr. MP Emmanuel.
Yes, Madam Chair. So basically, Madam Chair, what I'm hearing from the SCDF is everything over in the Kupakoi area. Then who's doing the marketing? I mean, if I can pick from what I'm hearing, then basically that's what it is. I thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Emmanuel. Is there any other member of Parliament that wish to have the floor for clarification? And if that's the case, then I see no need. Then Mr. Granger and Mr. Lawrence, any closing remarks before we close this agenda point?
Madam Chair Lady, I'm going to claim seniority. Go ahead. Madam Chair Lady, thank you very much for the audience. Thank you very much for scheduling the OVE, the public meeting first. Thank you very much for scheduling this Central Committee meeting again. There's a lot of different picky little questions that the public does have that we have not gotten into, but we could always ask anybody. Know we're all on Facebook. They could ask us anything at any time. They could inbox us, ask us publicly, doesn't matter. But we have to, it'll be nice to get a decision about whether it's a 5-year MOU, 3-year MOU, whatever, moving forward. It's nice to have that. But at this stage in time, with the clock ticking away, we have to start our preparations for Carnival. We have to start opening our registration. We have obligations to meet, and we await, as usual, if government wants to speak to us. We are always available to discuss anything, including if all of us believe the current structure or isn't sustainable, let us get together, sit around the table, and discuss how we can make it sustainable. We're not know-it-alls, none of us, so we can have a discussion. So I would thank all of the MPs for hearing us, even those that was there in the closed door meeting but not here today. I would thank them as well, but we have to continue with promoting and organizing what we are obligated to do and what the people expect us to do, and that is Carnival. I thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Thank you then to the representatives of the St. Maarten Carnival Development Foundation for your presence here today. Mr. Romney, Mr. Granger, Mr. Lawrence, and Mr. Rajuki, thank you for your presence here today. I would like to then now close this agenda point 1. And regarding agenda point 2, which is the introduction and the amendment of the several articles in the Rules of Order for the Parliament of Sint Maarten, unfortunately, we do not have a quorum for that. We would need 8 members of Parliament to proceed with that agenda point. So with that, then, I would like to then adjourn this Central Committee meeting number 37 and wish everyone a pleasant afternoon further. Meeting adjourned until further notice.